Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this week's bump date, I have a lot of exciting news. This will be all about my 37th week of pregnancy. So first I'm going to go onto the apps that I use that just tell me a little bit about how babies should be doing this week. I use apps called Baby Center and The Bump. I'll first go on to Baby Center and then I'll go on to The Bump. So today I'm 37 weeks and 7 days, so I do my bump dates at the end of my weeks, so during the week I can get all of my symptoms and stuff. So tomorrow I'll be 38 weeks. It says that I have 15 days to go until I meet my baby, which is wrong, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. It says your baby is about the size of a bunch of Swiss chard. How your baby's growing. Your due date is very close now, but doctors don't consider your baby full term until 39 weeks. Spending the next 2 weeks in the womb will allow your baby's brain and lungs to fully mature. So if you're planning to have a repeat C-section, for example, your doctor will schedule it for no earlier than 39 weeks unless there's a medical reason to intervene earlier. Many babies have a full head of hair at birth, with locks from 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches long. But don't be surprised if your baby's hair isn't the same color as yours. Dark-haired couples are sometimes thrown for a loop when their children come out as blondes or redheads, and fair-haired couples have been surprised by Elvis lookalikes. And then, of course, some babies sport only peach fuzz. At this point, your baby weighs about 6 1/3 pounds and measures a bit over 19 inches head to heel, about the length of a bunch of Swiss chard. The bump says that baby is as big as romaine lettuce at about 6.17 pounds and 8.9 inches. My baby at 37 weeks. Baby's practicing some cool new skills: inhaling, exhaling, sucking, gripping, and blinking. Baby's getting the first sticky poop called meconium ready for his or her first diaper. Yay, baby most likely measures around 18.9 to 20.9 inches and weighs about 6.2 to 9.2 pounds this week, and gaining about 1/2 ounce each day. So that's how the apps tell me that baby is doing. Now I'm going to go on to some symptoms that I've been having this week. So this week I've been having terrible diarrhea. It's kind of TMI, and in the beginning of pregnancy it's usually constipation that many girls struggle with, and now I've been experiencing diarrhea, and I've read that it can be a way of your body cleansing itself in preparation for birth, and it's also just the change in hormones because your hormones are constantly changing. And I've just been trying to stay hydrated. I've been drinking so much water. I have been pretty thirsty, not as thirsty as I usually am, but I've still been drinking a lot of water because at my last appointment they told me that baby's fluid was low, so I made sure to drink lots of water. And also, since I'm having diarrhea, I'm trying to stay hydrated, and they're finally starting to be a little bit more solid. I have been very tired during the day, and then I've been struggling to sleep at night. I have been sleeping at night, but it takes me quite a while to fall asleep. But then once I am asleep, I feel like I sleep pretty well for a couple hours at a time. My skin has actually been clearing up. I don't know if it's to the products I've been using or if it's because of the change in my hormones, but they have been clearing up. I haven't been keeping up with my symptoms like I used to, but I think that's pretty much it. There hasn't been many new things. My hips still hurt like crazy. My stomach hurts. I'm still having bathroom issues. I've been drinking a lot of water. I'm really tired, and I've been cleaning. So I had 2 appointments this week. I had one with my specialist and a regular OB appointment. So at my specialist appointment, I had to go back. I went to her previously because my son was having kidney issues where his kidneys were, your kidneys always have fluid in it, but he had an abnormal amount. He had too much, which caused his kidneys to be dilated, and we were monitoring it to make sure that it would go away, and it did end up going away. But at the last appointment where she confirmed that his kidneys are fine, she noticed that he had a drop in his growth, and he had a 20% drop in his growth. Before, he was in the 56th percentile, and if he dropped by 20%, that means he's now in the 36th percentile. and that was around 34 weeks. So she wanted to see me back 3 weeks later at 37 weeks if I hadn't given birth, and I obviously have not given birth. So I went back to her so she could see his weight again. She said that if the next time I come, which was this last appointment, if he still hasn't grown or he has another drop in growth, that it could mean something else, like my placenta is failing. So she checked his weight and he's barely grown. He's barely grown since at least 34 weeks. I'm not sure before that what he was weighing. I don't really remember. I'm sure I could go find it somewhere, but I don't really remember when I noticed that he wasn't really growing. He probably was slowing for a little while, but my OBs probably just weren't very concerned, and it probably just didn't click in my head. But I knew at that point I should be gaining a pound a week and baby should be gaining half, and I was not gaining weight and baby was not growing. So I thought maybe it was since I wasn't gaining weight. So I made sure to eat, because with my whole stomach issues and whatever, I really would not want to eat. And so I would kind of like subconsciously not really eat. And so then I made sure I was eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I've still barely gained. His weight is good. At this moment, he's a good weight to be born, but the reason why it's concerning is because each baby has the way that they grow. Like, they have their own growth rate, and his growth rate was changing. And before, they estimated me having at least a 7.5 pound baby, and now he's been 6 pounds for a few weeks. So they didn't tell me it was IUGR, which is intrauterine growth restriction, but I did overhear them while they were looking at my chart that it is suspected, but they were going to wait and see what the specialist said. And the specialist said I'm 37 weeks and that baby is not benefiting from being inside of me, and so her recommendation is to induce me no later than 39 weeks. So on the 16th, 1 week from this video, when this video goes up, I will be induced. The time and date may change, but I don't think it is. I'm pretty positive it's the 16th. I'm just still waiting on the hospital to call me and confirm. I'm going to be induced since baby is not growing, and there's no point in keeping him in there if he isn't growing because he's not benefiting, and it would just be better to get him out where we can feed him and we can manage and control the nutrients he is getting. I am a little disappointed that I have to be induced, because like in the beginning I was kind of like, he can stay in there until whenever he comes, even if it's like 42 weeks. Like, I don't want to get induced just because I'm late, but it is kind of nice that I'm being induced because I know what day or days to expect baby to be here, and it's really nice because then Gio can put in his paperwork for his paternity leave. I get to meet baby a little bit earlier, so that's the pros of it. Some of the cons is that inductions are more likely to lead to C-sections, especially if your body, like your cervix, isn't favorable or isn't like really dilated or anything at all or ready for birth. It can cause contractions to be really strong and close together, which can cause the baby's heart rate to drop and cause a C-section. Or if they break your water and you take too long to dilate, after so many hours of your water being broken, you're at risk for infection, so that can cause a C-section. So I'm really hoping that the induction goes well and I'm still able to birth him vaginally, because a C-section, I just really don't want it because it is a major surgery. But at the end of the day, I just want to do what's best for him, and if him coming out early is what's best for him and induction is needed, then that is what I'm going to do. So then when I went to my OB appointment, they also confirmed, like, yeah, he's not growing. And my test for group B strep came back negative, so I won't be having to receive antibiotics during birth. I'm still anemic, so I still have to take iron. Baby's fluid was low. The specialist also mentioned that the baby's fluid is low, which is typical. I guess it's like a typical sign of IUGR, which when I looked it up, I had seen that. It usually happens in the 3rd trimester, and it can happen anytime during the pregnancy, but babies can be diagnosed with it also in the 3rd trimester, and a decrease in fluid is like a sign of that. And so I've been drinking tons of water, but when I went back to the OB, his fluid did go up. I believe it was a 9 before, and now she told me it was an 11. I'm not sure what it was at the previous appointment before the last at the specialist, because like I said, she did say that there's a decrease in the fluid. I'm so ready to meet my baby. And next week, when next week's bump date goes up, if he doesn't come early, I will be having him, and I will be trying to vlog that, so make sure you subscribe if you want to see that. I'm not sure if I ever showed the blanket, but I finally finished the blanket that I started making in like like in the very beginning of my 3rd trimester, and it's super cute and soft. It is not perfect. It's my first blanket ever. It kind of turned into a trapezoid, like it's smaller at the top. Well, technically it's larger at the top and smaller at the bottom. And I watched a YouTube video, and supposedly that's a common mistake with first time new crocheters. And so I have more yarn. I'm gonna try to make him another blanket, and hopefully that one won't be trapezoid. They did weigh me. My current weight is 145, and it was 145 again at this appointment, and so that has not been changing either. So when I measured my belly with the tape measure, it's measuring about 39 inches around, which I think it's been that for quite a while now. I'll have to go back and look at my bump dates, but it hasn't really been growing because he hasn't been growing. Here is the belly from the front, belly from the side. He still looks pretty high to me. Belly from this side. Belly with the shirt up, looks like a basketball. This is the line that you get during pregnancy. My stretched out belly button piercing and my belly button. I am so excited to meet my son, and I'm just so ready. I have tons of mixed emotions. I want to meet him, but then I still feel like there's a lot of stuff for me to get done and to clean, and then I'm a little bit sad that it won't be Gio and I anymore, but then at the same time I can't wait for it to not be just Gio and I anymore. So it's tons of mixed emotions. It's really an exciting and bittersweet and so many emotions, but I'm just so ready for the most part. I've been waiting to see him. They said he has a lot of hair, and I just want to hold him and snuggle him already, and I think everyone's pretty excited. So you guys, don't forget to comment, because I love responding to you guys, to like the video. So I know that you like my bump dates and you guys want to see my last bump date next week. And subscribe if you want to see our birth vlog. There's also like a bell or something by the subscribe button, which will notify you when we post new videos. Feel free to share the video if you think your friends will like it. Wish baby and I luck, and we'll see you soon. Bye.